All right, guys, we got some Week 14 college football. Again, a lot of postponements and things like that going on. We have a little bit of a weird thing going on with Coastal Carolina. Game day's there today. They were supposed to be playing Liberty, but Liberty had to cancel because of COVID reasons. Instead of canceling the game, BYU stepped up and said they would play, so this is kind of a monster matchup now. Both teams probably feel like they have something to prove. I think Coastal Carolina has the most to prove and is looking to make a big-time statement today. I think it is less of a disadvantage for them getting this new opponent at the end of the week before the game than it is for BYU, especially since that game is at Coastal Carolina. So I'll start off with them today. They're plus 10.5 against BYU. I understand there's not really any history there for Coastal Carolina. Some people might think they're a flash in the pan. They have looked pretty good this year. Maybe they haven't been playing Alabama and Clemson, but I think they are maybe more real than people are giving them credit for. So I'm taking them plus 10.5 today. I think there's a pretty good chance they win this game. I think at minimum it's a close one, but I like them plus 10. In fact, I love them plus 10.5. We got, let's see here, Ohio State versus Michigan State. Ohio State minus 23.5, over 59.5 points. I like both. I probably like the cover a little bit more than the over because I don't know if Michigan State's going to put up any points this game. But I love the cover. I think they cover that easy, 23.5. I don't think that's a problem against Michigan State. I know Michigan State has had a couple nice wins this year. They've also had some bad losses. They're not very good. The Big Ten is just such a disaster this year. Nobody has any idea what they're doing. I think Ohio State covers it easy. Plus, I think they're trying to prove that they deserve to be in the playoff. I think if they finish out the season, they play the rest of the games, they will be. But one more cancellation and they're done. They've already had two. So they were able to get this game in this week. I think they are going to stick it to Michigan State. So I think that's a big win. I think they cover it easy. A&M at Auburn. A&M's minus 5.5. Auburn they're not the powerhouse they've been in the past. A&M looks really good. They're 4 or 5 in these polls. They're also trying to prove a point. They're trying to prove that they deserve to be in the playoff. So I think you're going to see. I think they're going to cover. I think they'll win by a touchdown. I think they're going to beat Auburn. I think they're going to try to maybe win by a couple scores just to show that they are a team that needs to be considered. Penn State, they shocked us last week. Now Michigan's not good, so it's not like this was a monster win for them this year. But I did not expect them to win that game, and they did. Now they're playing at Rutgers today. Rutgers definitely has a chip on their shoulder when it comes to Penn State because they feel like they don't get the credit that they have not earned. I have no idea, but they're little brother in this scenario. They want to win this game. I just don't think they're good enough. I don't know. I can't bet on Penn State to lose against Rutgers. I really don't. And I know that they have a history of playing kind of shitty against them, but I'm not saying they're back. I kind of feel like a Texas fan. They're not back. They're not back. But I think they figured some things out last week. I think they're going to be able to handle Rutgers. They're minus 12.5. I think they win by 2 scores. I think they win by 2 touchdowns. Maybe they get some other people to think they're back. I don't have confidence in them running the table the rest of the way. Not that that's really going to salvage the season, but I think that they can handle business today. I like Penn State minus 12.5. Wisconsin versus Indiana. This is in Madison. Wisconsin, unfortunately, has been eliminated from postseason Big Ten play because they had 3 cancellations. Indiana was looking like they might get the Big Ten championship game if this Ohio State game got canceled today. It didn't, and then Michael Penix Jr. tore his ACL. He was obviously the star of that team, was carrying that team this season, and now he's out. I don't think this team is good enough to, without him, to hang with that really many people at all, but definitely not Wisconsin. Wisconsin is a very good team, despite that heartbreaking loss to Northwestern. Wisconsin is good. Wisconsin, they're kind of playing for pride at this point. I think they're going to really put it to Indiana. I don't think Indiana's got a chance in this game. Wisconsin minus 13.5. Already talked about Coastal Carolina. We love them today. Clemson, Went back and forth on this one, whether I like the cover or the over. Ultimately, Virginia Tech has had too many games where they just could not score against subpar opponents. Now they had, they played to the level of their competition a little bit this year, but Clemson is a monster. That loss to Notre Dame, it doesn't matter at this point. Maybe they see him again in the playoffs, but if they see him again with Trevor Lawrence, I think we're talking about a different game. So Lawrence is back. I feel like Clemson has something to prove, that they are a top 2 team, even with that loss. So I think they're going to roll on Virginia Tech. Clemson minus 22.5 is what I like. I think the over-under was like 67.5, something like that, which that might hit too, but I like the spread a little bit better. Bonus basketball pick today, Gonzaga minus 2.5 versus Baylor. 1 versus 2. Both really good teams. I think Gonzaga's a little bit too strong. So now let's get into our lock of the week. It's tough. Because I love Coastal Carolina at plus 10.5. I love Ohio State at minus 23.5. And I love Clemson at minus 22.5. Now, I don't want to cop out and shotgun for all 3. By the way, Wild Turkey 101 back in the house. But if I have to pick one, I think I'm going to Ohio State, because I think that they really they want to get the attention of these voters and let them know. Because if a game gets canceled, they're the type of team that's going to be like, well, make a little exception for us because look how good we are. So I think that they really want to get everybody's attention. They say, hey, we're the best team in the country. We've been ranked 4. We're not getting the credit that we are owed because we are so good. So I think they beat the shit out of Michigan State today. So we'll go with that, and we're going Blizzard of Hops once again. Next week, Double Blizzard comes out. I'm hoping to snag some. They're tall boys, and I will shotgun the shit out of that if I get it. So here we go. Yeah, that's my dog in the background going buck wild right now. Here we go. I hope everybody you bet on covers today. Let's make some money. Love you guys. They fixed those cans. That was a lot easier to open than the ones last week. All right. Love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow for NFL.